On DC Music Rocks, we're shining a spotlight on the great songs, artists, and incredible people behind the DC region's music scene. And the DC Blues Society is a nonprofit 501c3 organization celebrating the blues since 1987 in the nation's capital, in DC, Maryland, and Virginia, through outreach and education. And then there's a lot happening because then we have Jazz on the show, and she is the co-founder of the Silver Spring Blues Festival, which is celebrating its 10th year. They're also representing the Greenbelt Free Blues Festival, held September 22nd, and the November 10th College Park Free Blues Festival. So basically, if you love the blues festivals, Jazz is your lady. And that's just some of what is probably a lot of things that she can tell you about with the blues that she celebrates. There's a lot. And now we also have Linwood Lee Taylor with us. He is a DC bluesman, has held his own band for more than a decade, and he's the winner of 9 Emmy Whammies for Best Blues Band, and the band appeals to the broad to a broad audience. He can be seen jamming the blues at Winchester Church Blues on Monday, and around the DMV, and at the Greenbelt Blues Festival on September 22nd on this coming up. And then Willie Liebel represents Archie Edwards Blues Heritage Foundation, which oversees the Archie Edwards Blues Foundation weekly jams, which happened. And the Archie Edwards Blues Heritage Foundation was created to preserve Archie Edwards' memory and to carry on the work that he began in his barbershop in Northeast DC to teach people about Piedmont blues and keeping that tradition alive. So that was a lot, and now let's unpack that a little bit. So, Willie, let's start with you. Talk about the Archie Edwards Blues Heritage Foundation and these weekly jams.
Okay, yeah. First of all, let me say the Archie Edwards Blues Heritage Foundation is the only blues foundation in the United States that specializes specifically in acoustic blues.
And if they don't know what the significance of acoustic blues is, what does that mean?
Well, that's where blues started. But it started before we had electric guitars and before we had amplification.
So no mics, or they might use mics for vocals, but there's no amps or electrics on the instruments themselves.
Correct. Yeah, and that's for our Saturday jams. We host concerts, and we do have amplification for concerts, but it's still all acoustic. There's no electric guitars. No fancy equipment. Everything's kind of simple with us.
Got it. And where did this foundation come from?
Well, Archie died in 1998, and there were a bunch of people that used to hang out at his barbershop and play, and in fact that goes all the way back to the 50s.
Wow. Where was the barbershop?
The barbershop was in Northeast DC on Bunker Hill Road.
Oh, wow.
And
okay.
Archie had a bunch of friends that every Saturday afternoon at 1 p.m. he would stop barbering, and they would all get out and start to jam. And the jams got to be known locally and regionally and nationally and internationally. We have people coming, we have people come from all over the world that will stop in there. And when Archie died in '98, we wanted a place for the old guys to still hang out, all of his old buddies, and so we formed a foundation, and it took off and took a life of its own. We lost the original barbershop site about 10 years ago, and right now we're out. We actually rent out an old train station in Riverdale Park, Maryland, and so we have our Saturday jams there. We have concerts there. We offer guitar instruction, harmonica instruction, vocal instruction on a regular basis there. So we keep pretty busy. We do a lot there.
And with all the stuff you're doing, so if they want to find out more about that stuff that you're doing, that sounds interesting. Where do they find more about that?
We have a website. The Archie Edwards Blues Heritage website is acousticblues.com, and they can find everything out there. We have some concerts that are coming up. We actually have our 20-year anniversary coming up, and we'll be celebrating that October 19th and 20th, and we'll be having a Friday night party on October 19th, and we'll be having a concert and an after party on Saturday night. So we have a big weekend planned
with Phil
and
Higgins.
All that is on acousticblues.com too.
Correct.
So the lessons you're talking about and the jams and all that information, they can find that out there.
They can.
That is, wow. There's a lot happening there, and that's all where, and that's all still in the. You said that's at a train station, or most of that is, and that's where is that located in the city?
That's located in Riverdale Park, Maryland. It's about 5 minutes south from the University of Maryland campus.
I see. Okay, so in the Greenbelt to Silver Spring, like up that region,
Yes.
that part of the city up there.
Right,
I see.
right.
Okay, nice. Well, that was okay. So that's the Archie Edwards Blues Foundation. Now, Jazz, there's all kinds of festivals and blues festivals that I brought up with you. So talk about those.
Well, I guess I'll start with Greenbelt because that's coming up on September 22nd. It's a free blues festival, and it's the 16th annual. And this year, Archie Edwards Blues Heritage Foundation has joined us, and that's why we're able to have workshops. We're going to have a ukulele workshop and a harmonica workshop, and also a blues guitar workshop. It all
Holy
starts,
smokes.
I know. So it all starts at 11 a.m. in the New Deal Cafe in historic Greenbelt.
Of course.
And then right before that is the yoga in the Roosevelt Center. So really everything is happening in this one little space. And free parking, and then blues from noon until close to midnight. And one of those artists will be Linwood Taylor, and
Cool.
a lot of
Yep.
other awesome performers such as Revelator Hill and Little Bit of Blues, who are they're the acoustic set, and Warner Williams is a National Endowment for the Arts winner, and Capitol Blues Ensemble, and we'll have
So there's
Sam
a lot
Palladino.
of- So, and if they
Yeah.
want to find out, and all the stuff that you're talking about, where do they find that if they go online?
So the best
Where's
place for that is on Facebook. If you just look up Greenbelt Blues Festival, that will get you all the information.
Aha. And that date one more time for Greenbelt Blues Festival.
September 22.
You got it. All right, September 22nd. And then there's another one happening coming up. Talk about that one too.
So November 10th is the College Park Blues Festival, and it's actually the 11th annual, and James Armstrong from California will be performing as the headliner, and we still have yet to determine who the Battle of the Band winners are, because that's happening in 2 weeks. And so in 2 weeks we will have our Battle of Bands and solo duo competition, and those winners will be performing at the College Park Blues Festival.
Very cool.
And there's one more band that will be there too.
And so if somebody goes to these blues festivals, do they bring a picnic? Do they bring a blanket? Do they sprawl out? What's it like as the spectator
So
if
in-
they go to these things?
In
What happens?
Greenbelt, there's the New Deal Cafe, which has food, but you could certainly pack a picnic because it will be indoors and outdoors.
Oh.
And it's a nice community. It's an outdoor space. It's very rural-ish. It's got a lot of greenery. And College Park Blues Festival, no, don't bring your food, because they have food there and they have quality beers, and so does New Deal Cafe at the Greenbelt Blues Festival.
And so the bands are set up on a stage and they'll be just enjoying the music for hours, it seems like.
Yep, and dancing.
Wow. And yes, bring your dancing shoes. Dancing is encouraged too. Wow, lots of stuff happening there. All right. So that was 2 of our 3 guests today with all kinds of cool blues things happening. And then Linwood, talk to us, man. So you're a DC bluesman. You won some Whammies. Where can people? How might people recognize you, and where can they find you around town? Talk about you.
Well, as I say, I do play locally, but I travel internationally. I've been as far away as Australia this year. Let's see, I'm usually at JV's the first Sunday of the month, but this month I will be there the 16th.
And if they've never been to JV's, where is that? What is JV's?
JV's is one of the top music venues in the area for local talent. It's in Falls Church, Virginia, on 6666 Arlington Boulevard, I think it is. Route
Nice.
50.
Gotcha. Yeah, they can go on Google and check that one
Yeah,
out. But
yeah.
JV's, man, I still, and that's one of the places that's on my list this year that I want to get to for sure. So and you're there. What night is that?
The 16th of this month, Saturday the 16th.
You got
We're
it.
doing a double bill with Skylar Burrell, who's out of
Nice.
town talent.
And when you're traveling, you said you traveled to Australia. Say more about that. Is that somebody called you up and said, "Hey, listen, bring your guitar, and I want you to travel halfway around the world to play it," or what happened?
Well,
What is
actually,
it?
what's going on is I also started to play with Joe Louis Walker again, and I played with him in the past, and now I'm back playing with him again. I literally just got off the road with him like a week ago for a couple of weeks in Canada and the Carolinas and New York. And we went to Australia. We were at the Byron Bay Blues Festival, which put us on the bill with Robert Plant, Government Mule, the Wailers, New Power Generation, Walter Trout. And I'm running out of people. I can't
Holy
remember.
smokes, yeah, there's so much happening.
Exactly.
And so if people want to find your music, and where do they go online? Because everybody goes online these days. So where do they find you online?
You can find me online, linwoodtaylor.com. That'll put you in contact with me, and eventually, as soon as my web guy gets a little bit better, we will update it for me. And also, you can look for me on Facebook, Linwood Taylor. Just
Got
Linwood
it.
Taylor.
And Linwood Taylor, LINWOOD, and Taylor is TAYLOR. Linwood Taylor, you got it. Wow, guys, that's so much. There's so much stuff happening with the blues that I don't think anybody knew. Well, that's not true. Some people knew, but there's these little pockets. So it's so cool that there's so much happening with the blues in this city. That is awesome.
Oh yeah.
Now, so one of the questions that I love to ask, and I'm really intrigued with what you guys would say to this, is if you could offer one piece of advice, what would it be? And Willie, let's start with you and right down the line. What would you say?
For someone who wants to play music, you need to get out and play with others.
Oh,
That's the
okay.
one thing I'd say to.
And if they don't, where would you say if you want to play music? So you have to learn how to play a little bit first. At what point do they go out and play with others?
Yeah, it depends, I guess, on the individual's personality. Some people they don't even learn guitar chords and they're out trying to bang on something. But there are other people who when they get a little more sophisticated, they feel like they want to share their music. And getting out and playing with others is really the key to improving your music skills.
Got it. There it is. And where would you say they should go if they want to do that?
Local open mics.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, local
Yeah.
jams, places like that, and they check out DC Blues Society and the Archie Edwards page because that we have jams, that they can go.
And just show up and watch and then jump in.
Yeah, and you're around a music community, so you're going to make contacts with people, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, Linwood, I'm sure you got thoughts on this. Share with us.
I was going to say there is an open blues jam at JV's every Monday night, and it's welcome to all.
When you say open blues jam, what does that mean?
Well, it means
The
that
equipment's up there and they can just show up and play a little bit?
pretty much, I mean, you bring your own guitar, or bass, or drumsticks, or harmonica, but the equipment's there. You sign up on the list, and you're grouped together with people you may not know, but it's okay, because they're all pretty good, and just come in and play.
That's cool. Yeah, open jams are a thing. I've heard about quite a few of them around the city. They've got, Gordon Sterling has one at Gypsy Sally's that I've heard about a lot, and there's the Open Blues Jam at JV's, and there's a lot of open jams, so you can finding it. If you're Googling around, you can probably find these amazing opportunities. And while we're on you, Linwood, what's your piece of advice you would offer?
That's the same thing. I also at one point taught guitar, and that was the main thing. You play with other people because a live human being is different each and every time that you play a song, whereas if you are playing with a jam track or something, it's the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
There it is.
Every day is different. Music is a living and breathing entity, and it's always different.
So check out Go Play Live and Go Watch Live. That's definitely, it's a good plan. And Jazz, what about you? What's your one piece of advice?
Well, I tie in with both of their points because even if you don't play an instrument, which I do not, you can go to these jams and dance and just have a great time and you meet the community. And the other part that I would recommend is volunteer. If you volunteer, you get to perhaps staff a booth at an event, you get free tickets, and you get to meet the musicians and get backstage. And if you're a groupie, it's a really fun time.
Oh, Jazz, are you a groupie? Is that what just happened? Oh, I love it.
We need to cut that part out.
Oh, you get to hang out with them. It's so true. Absolutely. And they're all just such fun people. So I love it. Well, guys, it's such a treat to have you here. So thank you for coming and talking about all these opportunities. And for everybody listening, if you missed part of that, I'm going to try to make sure that I have all those links and all those things in your episode notes so you can get to all of this information later if you're checking this out later.